my talk, and also welcome to JCON and to the track 5, which is the low code track. And we will see what we can do with low code against our full not stack Java. As you can see, we have a stack of pancakes and a lot of technologies that are not very Java. And yeah, let's see what we can do about this in this talk. So the objectives for today in this talk will be, we will use open source Java APIs to build a full stack app. We try to store data without a database or SQL, and we're gonna use MicroStream for that. And for the front end, we will use Vaadin to create a web front end for an application without touching HTML, JavaScript, or CSS. So if you already know MicroStream and Java by heart, this talk will not give you much new information. If you haven't heard about MicroStream or Vaadin, or not a pro with those tools, this talk is gonna be a lot of fun, and I will have live coding. Also, I will show us a few slides, and then we'll do live coding, and you can see what the difference between the approaches are that we will use and how we will use them. So stay tuned for that. And to give you a little bit of context, why I'm talking about this and where my experiences come from, they come from 20 years of software development, mostly full stack in Java. I've done crazy other things with PHP and Visual Basics before that, but since I've joined the Java boat, I'm pretty happy here and try to make Java a better place for developers with tools like the ones that I will show. And also, I'm one of the co-organizers of JCON that you are witnessing right now. And so the last days and nights were very short for me because we had to do a lot of things to make everything run smoothly. It was a lot of fun, like always. And this is also the reason why I want to give a big shout out to our partners that enable us to do the conference as we do. This year, again, as online conference, and next year, we will go back and have an online conference and an in-person conference. So I'll be happy to meet you there and talk about these tools and other stuff with you in person. So make sure to visit our partners, check out their websites, check out their products, and if you like their products, tell them that you found them or that you bought them because you attended JCON. This helps us a lot running these conferences. Okay, so let's get right into the topic. Our goal is to unify these technologies and make something that is more how I like it, so more Java. And also, I'm not the biggest pancake fan. I like burgers, and as I did prepare this talk, I was really hungry and I really wanted to have a burger, so this is a burger themed talk. And yeah, that's just it. Okay, and why did I come up with this talk? So what's the idea behind this? So I think it's getting harder and harder to do software development. When we do a project and we want to do something in the project, there's always some new framework that will use some YAML or something different that you never seen before, and then you have to read all the documentation, and that's really hard. And maybe just me, it's the kids, or I'm getting old, but I don't want to. I know how to do Java, and I really want to be boring and use Java and do this. So, and also this gives us the opportunity to master what we do. And if you've done Java for some years, you're getting better and better. So we can put these skills to use and use them to build applications. And it's not about only about you. So not being so egoistic here, it's about the whole team. So when you start with a project, or you want to have an ongoing project, you want to bring people in, they often don't know every framework, so it's hard to get really productive in a project because you have to know so much things, and then you switch from one project to the other, and then they have different frameworks that they work with. And of course, the things that I will show are also frameworks, but they are based on the idea that you can do it with your Java know-how, and it should be very intuitive for you to use them, and it should not require you to do like a full week training to use them properly. So also, when you think about this whole thing, think about bringing in onboarding new people. And today at least in Germany, we have a situation where it's really hard to find software developers. And I think every tool that helps you get things done without being having to search for like a real special person that has a certain framework know-how is a good thing. So that's the line for your manager if you want to try one of these techniques that I'm showing you today. So we will start from the bottom up. We will do persistence first. As you can see, we've got some juicy persistence here going on, and we will take a look at microstream. And of course, that's best done with some code. So let's have a look at some code here. Okay, let's close all of that. And I've prepared two examples for you. The first example is the real basic idea, just to serialize data, to store my data. And this is a real basic approach. We will use pizza. As you see, I was very hungry as I did this talk. So this is pizza. This is my pizza class, and it's a very simple class. It only has a few fields. It has no database ID. This is important in this talk. So this is something you can have that, of course, if you need it for the things you are doing. If you don't need it, you don't have to put it in just because the database needs it. And then of course you have to implement serializable, and you have to have a serial version UID. So what's the serial version UID for? This is a marker. This is just here a random number. I could just put 1 if I wanted to. And when you serialize and deserialize, it will tell the JVM if the class is the same than before. And of course, it's your responsibility to update this field. And if it's not the same, the JVM will tell you that you have a problem, and it can work out how to deserialize your data. Yeah, that's something you should take care of. Or never change your classes, which is also a good idea. Not only immutable objects, but also immutable classes. So never change anything. Also, very, very funny idea. Okay, so this is how it works. And then this is my object that I want to serialize. And then I have a little bit of code. And as you can see, this is very simple code. You can get it from the internet very easily. I have business logic, which is a map, and I store the date and time when an order comes in my map and which pizza was ordered. So I know I don't have who ordered the pizza, but this is a simple example, right? So this is the basic setup, and then I will use an object input stream first. When I come up with the program, I will read if there is anything already stored, because maybe I got shut down or the system crashed or something like that happened. So I have my state back, so I have to read. And that's why I'm reading using input stream. And then I will put in a new order at right now. And I, of course, will order a Hawaii pizza, which is a Hawaiian pineapple pizza. Everybody loves those, and that's why we're ordering those. And then just use an object output stream to write this to disk. And after that, I will print something in the console so we can see something. So this is the very basic setup. And of course, this should work. I don't hope the demo gods hate me. So as you can see, there's already a database there. Let's use a fresh one. We use one. We just put 1, and then we have a new data store. We will save this, and then we will just run this again. And I get an exception because there's no database there. This is here. This is OK. This is the first time that I run this. And then the second time when I run this, there will be a database. And then it will say that I have 2 orders, 11:09 at 40 seconds, and then at this. Okay, so this is nothing new, nothing special, but this could work, and this could give you the opportunity if you have a microservice or something small where you really don't need a database and you just want to save some data. You could use Java serialization. And of course, there are whole talks, even at JCON, that will tell you that's not a good idea. Not because the technology is in itself, it's so bad. It's a really great idea, I think. But what's the problem is the implementation of this idea, just storing objects, has many security problems. And yeah, So don't do it, because you will get hacked very, very surely, because I'd say at least 50% of all Java security problems or security vulnerabilities are based on serialization. So maybe don't do it. There's one little thing that you could do if you have the opportunity to use Java 17, which I totally recommend. You could use records, and records have a different serialization mechanism than normal regular objects have. So maybe you can use that, and you can read whole pages about this. They do verification, and they will use the record constructor to verify that the data that comes from the bytes that you read from the file, that they are sane at least. And this solves a lot of those security vulnerabilities. So maybe that's a chance. If you have only records that you want to store, that could help you a little bit. Okay, so this is nothing new. This is in Java for many years. And this comes without any dependencies. So if we look at this POM.xml here, you can see there is no dependencies. This is just plain Java. I'm using Java 11 here, and that's it. Point. Okay. So now let's look at an example where we use MicroStream for that. Let's look here, and we have almost the same pizza. And I want to have a look. Let's do a small comparison here. Let's see what changed in this file. Let's see here. Let's take this pizza, and we have here another pizza, and let's compare them. So let's see what we have. So basically, two things went away that did not belong in the class in the first place. The serializable import, of course, is gone because we don't have to implement the serializable interface, and then the serial version UID is gone. So let's talk about the first thing. First, serializable interface. So the serializable interface in itself isn't that bad. It's just a marker interface that is empty, so this is not a big problem. So when you look at it, so this is really all it is, just a marker interface that marks your class, and you can say, is this class serializable? Okay, that's it. But the problem is sometimes you have classes that you cannot change. So you can't just write implements serializable. There are a lot of reasons. Sometimes it's technically a problem. Sometimes you don't own the code, or nobody wants to pay for the problems that arise when you mark them with serializable. So there can be a lot of problems just writing implement serializable. So you can't do it. So the beauty is here, you can just store any class with MicroStream, and that's it. Okay, so that's great. And why don't we need this serial version UID? How does MicroStream keep track of changes in the class? So they have a very nice mechanism that's called legacy type mapping, and that helps that uses heuristics to determine what changed, and if you have to provide an adapter from one class version to another, or if the framework can just do it on its own. So if you just add a field, that's no problem. The framework will do it. If you rename something and it's kind of reasonable, the framework do it itself. If you have a change that is not processable by the framework, it will tell you, and then you will have to write a conversion. So you go from this is what's in storage, and now it looks like this way, and please use this and that code to convert the data. So that's great. Yeah, and that's a really great thing. And so let's look at the code, how the code looks, because we've seen the object or the class that we want to store, or the objects from the class that we want to store. Let's look at how the code looks for this. And the code looks like this. So very simple again. Let's walk through it. So we have the same here. We have the same map. That's good. Then we have an embedded storage manager. This is like the simplest version of it that you can get. And it just takes this orders as a root object. You could put any graph here. We'll get to that in a minute, but I will just store the orders. You can store much more here. And then I will store it to my database. And I know I've done crazy things when I prepared this talk, so I will store it just here. And yeah, what will happen? This is our business logic. We will put the pizza, again, we will order an Hawaiian pizza, and then we will store it, and we will print it to the console, and we are a nice user we will call shutdown. You don't have to do it. Can you extend the imports? Yes, I can. Very good question. So now we have 2 imports here, and that's a very fair question. And we can look at the POM XML. And if you look at the POM XML, you will see that we've added 2 new dependencies. This one is the MicroStream dependency, and this one is just to shut down the logger. So you could plug in your own adapter from SLF4J to the logging framework you wanted to use. I don't need no logging for this demo. And again, we have to look at the dependency hierarchy. So this is my no-op logger. This one does not count, so you don't need that. And this is the really nice thing about MicroStream. So you get one dependency. Of course, it will bring some other dependencies, but all those dependencies are owned by the MicroStream team, except of course for the SLF4J API, but you don't get any Guava or anything like this. So this is the horrible stuff. So you don't get the horrible stuff. You get just clean one MicroStream dependency with its sub-dependencies, no crazy other frameworks. And that's good for me because I like that. So I don't get dependency hell that easily. Okay, so that's it. That's the whole thing. And of course we can run it. And I just want to show it. It's always nice to run something and hope it does not crash. And now we get basically the same. We get this pizza. And as you can see, this embedded storage manager takes a little bit of work away. It handles all the storing. And then I will do again. And as you can see, it preserved my state from before. And that's how easy it is to save objects in Java now. So this is really great. I don't have to know about SQL. I don't need to have any CouchDB or MongoDB or any other NoSQL, no Elasticsearch, something like that. This is just Java. It's just plain Java application running. It's very fast. It's very small. No crazy dependencies. So I really like that. So that's great. Any questions up until this point? So nothing in the chat. If you have questions, just put them in the chat, and I will check regularly if there are any questions. So, oh, Andres just came on. Do you have a question, Andreas? No, okay, you're good. Thanks for turning on the camera so I can see some people. That's good for me. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's go back to the slides. So this was basically the first part of the presentation. I showed you there is a good way that you can use to store data with MicroStream in the session program. MicroStream is a sponsor of the session. There are some other sessions that explain it more deeply, how it works and all the details. And we even have people from MicroStream at the conference that can answer all the questions, like what's happening there in the depth. But this is just one thing I really like about MicroStream from this perspective. And I have some more slides here. So this is just one more time how it works. You have your object graph in memory, and then it gets stored to a binary file basically. And it says storage. You can store to just a plain file. Can I show the database file? Yes, let's do that for a minute. That's a good question. And let's see where it is. So let's have a look here. Database file is here. And as you can see, here is my database that I used with 1, 2, 3. And then you get a dictionary. This is basically saying what's the files that should be serialized. And there's stuff in here. As you can see, there are some things that are predefined. You can have like custom handlers that if you have an object that MicroStream has not seen, it will use a generic approach to save it, which is most of the time good. If you have like a special way in that you want to save it, you can provide code to MicroStream and tell MicroStream save this object in this and that form, and optimize as much as you want. So this is just the type dictionary that tells what types there are and that are stored. And then I have one channel. Of course, you can have more channels, and then you got cryptic binary data. And as you can see, sometimes there is things that you can read, and we also get transactions because this store is also safe. So if while storing the data, the power goes away or something else happens that breaks that, it will recognize this and will say, okay, I was not finished writing all that to disk or to my store, and then will discard those last transaction and restore as a transaction in this case, and then it will start normally and you don't have like compromised data. Okay, great. Okay, again, show database file. This was the database file, right? This is the database file here, channel 1. And you can have multiple channels, and then and you can spread those out to leverage I/O better, and it has very good I/O. They say it's 1,000 times faster than using MySQL database. Okay, great. Let's move on. This was how it's stored. And again, I put that on the slides. So if you just have the slides, you can see that again, your class gets really tiny, neat, if you like Marie Kondo. And this is the Asian woman on Netflix that throws out all the stuff from your house. And she always says, it should spark joy. This sparks joy to me. Seeing a class not cluttered, very good for me. So, and then one more thing about MicroStream, usually with serialization, you can only store trees. So a tree has a root, and then it has leaves, but there is no cyclic dependencies, interconnections here. And MicroStream can store a graph, which is very good. So you don't have to like come up with crazy models. You can just model in an object-oriented way your objects, your domain objects, and then you can just save them and get them back later with all the interconnections and cyclic dependencies. Also a problem with JSON, having cyclic dependencies in JSON is bad. And then of course, Lord of the Rings is back. Hadn't had the chance to watch any of the new episodes on Amazon because I had to work for JCON, but I will do after JCON. But I was so hyped, so I had to put the slide. And this is Moria, where the dwarves have their underground fortress. And this is also true for MicroStream because it saves you from a lot of those security vulnerabilities. And they even have a report for an audit from the NCC group where they looked at all of this and tried to destroy it. And it seems to be bulletproof. So good for everybody to use that. Okay, let's move on to the second part. Now we're done with the database stuff. We will have a look at the front end and body and rapid clips. And as you can see, this is the top of my very juicy burger. So with Vaadin, you can build really nice looking business applications, and like one of these. And if you have a look in what's happening under the hood, there is some architecture going on. And of course, there is somewhere in that mix, there is HTML and CSS. As you can see on the top, there are web components. And this is something that I really like about the new Vaadin versions. Before that, Vaadin used Google Web Toolkit or GWT or GWT or any other name you want to give it to render your JavaScript, HTML, CSS components to the browser. And they used this cross compiler from Java to JavaScript. And this worked and this was okay. But yeah, this was some kind of black magic. And now it's totally standard based. So web components is a standard that is implemented with the major browsers. This is very good. I really like standards because they give me the peace of mind that software that I develop will last at least for some years until the standard becomes obsolete. But I can rely on the standard that it's there and that my components will work. And they have really beautiful web components. They are not just for Vaadin. You can use them with React and Angular or what you like. These are just like JavaScript components that you can use, and they provide themed. And then Vaadin has an application server that does the communication with the front end in the browser. And this is very great because I can write my logic and everything in Java, and we will look at this in a minute. I really like that. And we had a question before in the talk before. There is also a framework called Hilla from Vaadin. Hilla is if you are not a Java developer, but or if you are a Java developer, you really like JavaScript and you want to do it on the client side, check out Hilla. Hilla is also a beautiful framework that you can use to build client-side web applications. So, and the Vaadin part that we use here in the demo and in RapidClips is called Vaadin Flow, and this is like the thing that they did for many years. I think back to the year 2000 or so, and from there comes the whole idea. You write Java and then you get a web front end. Okay, and we have one more graphic here that shows it again. You have your stack. The stack is you have a Java virtual VM, and then you get an application server, so maybe a Tomcat, Wildfly, and then there is this Vaadin servlet, and the Vaadin servlet will do the communication with your web clients and using web components, and this is all standard based. Also, the servlet implementation or the servlet API is a Java standard that has been around many years and served very well and is very well developed. And so this is great. They're just using like standard pieces to do something really great that helps us Java developers. Okay, let's get back to the code and let's look at some more files. I will close all of these and then we will go here. The idea that I'm using is, of course, RapidClips, because I'm one of the biggest RapidClips fans, of course, because I work on those, and we have two things here. Again, we have our pizza, but to have a little bit more data in the demo, I spiced it up a little bit, and I put new fields. Again, we don't have any database ID, but we have a menu ID. So this is not a technical ID. This is an ID that's used for the menu, because when I go to a restaurant, I never can pronounce what like the item is, and I feel funny. And if I have like a menu ID, it's number 13. That's I can do. So I rather have that. So that's the menu ID. I have a name, calories, of course, important. COVID is almost gone, so I have to go out. I have to watch my calories again. So like one big bad thing that is going on right now, and I have a description, and then it's just getters and a nice toString method. So very simple setup here, and I have a data store here, and this is basically the same code I've shown before, but I have, if the data store is empty, then I will put in some demo data. So this is just for the demo. You don't need this like in production. Okay, let's see. So I've prepared a little demo here. Let's go to the to-dos view. So this is the Java side of it, and this is the web side of it, to-dos. Okay, this is what it is, and it's a really simple class. Nothing too fancy going on here. Yeah, that's basically it. And there's a little bit magic in here, because here is the text that is displayed. As you can see here, this is the text that is displayed here. And I will make this a little bit smaller so you can see side by side. So this is what we have here, and this is the magic block. You have to give us this one method. We will override this with the UI builder. I'll talk about this later, but just for now, if you don't want to use RapidClips and just want to use Vaadin, it's really easy, because I'm a Swing guy. So I come from Java Swing and I really love Swing, and also I love Visual Basic. So I can say button, and this is of course a Vaadin Flow button. So these are components that I get from Vaadin Flow, and I can say B, and I can say new button. And then there is a nice constructor that lets me specify what should be written on the button. Click me is always good and not at all suspicious. So now we have a button, and then I will say this, just add this component, this button component, to this this view I have. So that's basically it. And as you can see here, click me is here. So that's great. And that's just how Vaadin works. So if you know how to do Swing, this is really easy. And then I will go here and say, for example, if you need a text field, they have, of course, a text field, SAT, new text field, and you get the hang of it, okay? And then you can say a label for it. Maybe this should be the name. and then again, I will say this this add component and then T. And then there's an error, and this is bad. Everything is broken. Then I do it again, and then it's nice again. Okay, then I have this. Okay, you can do a lot of things with that. I don't want to go too deep into this. We have a session coming up with my colleague Sebastian. He will do a lot more of this. And what I wanted to show you is that it's so it's really easy, and it's just Java, and I get the nice HTML stuff. So, and then I will do something with RapidClips. As you can see, we have Java files here, and RapidClips is a nice IDE that helps you build nice things very, very fast. And we will have a look at the to-do view, and I have those files, those UI XML files. I know XML is very bad now. I like XML actually, and this is a way that you can use to generate Java files, and this is the model that uses our UI builder. And our UI builder will power up now, and this runs and the Warden views in the background, so you can see them live as you edit them, and you get a PowerPoint like what you see is what you get experience, and that helps you design and build views even faster. And we have a lot of wizards that will do a lot of the tedious work for you, and that's the thing I like so much about RapidClips. So as you can see, it renders my to-do view. This is a menu, of course, and this is here from this point. This is the to-do view. So, and I want to have a grid because I want to display all my pizzas. I just drag this grid here, so I get an empty slot, and then I use my domain object, and this is the beauty. I just put it on this grid, and then it gets analyzed, and I can select which fields from this class I want to display, and I want to have menu ID, name, and let's put calories up here, and then I can change a lot of things here. I can say if columns are resizable, sortable, and a lot of stuff is going on here, and I can just do this. And I will just say okay for the demo's sake, and then I will have a grid, and of course there will be much pizzas, and I will put in a filter component here, and this is just a filter component that I pulled from this menu. And as you can see, this is like PowerPoint. You can really put in this components, and then you have this properties view here on the side, and this helps you do stuff. For example, select a grid, because if you have more grids on, or you can have, of course, you can have more grids on one view. You can select which grid should be connected to this filter, and then you can filter this view. And now you can see this file is not saved. I will save this file. It will update my Java file, and now you can see that there is more code here, and it looks like reasonable clean for that what a code generator can do. And so there's no magic. So if you don't want to use RapidClips from this point on, you don't have to. So there is nothing going on. Just maybe delete this UI XML file. You can, of course, leave it there, but then people will know that you used RapidClips and you cheated a little bit, and you didn't do the whole work by hand, which is like super 2000s. Now we're in the future. You can just generate the code, and then you will save it, and again, you will have it here. Of course, there's no data. We haven't set any data yet, but you get these nice features. And of course, you get something like introspection, where it just sees what is in your grid and which fields are there, and it generates those nice UI things for you. And this filter component is actually something that comes with RapidClips. This is not included in the Warden framework. We provide some additional components with RapidClips. Okay, so that's it. And of course, you want to see some data in there. Me too. So let's see where I can steal this from. I will just steal this little piece of code here, put it here. So I'm just saying I need a pizza data provider. This is a component from the Warden framework. And here I will say I just go to my data store that we've seen before. there is my array list with pizzas. So this time it's not a map because there's no orders. I have just a plain list with pizzas, and I want to display this list with pizzas. And then I will save this, and let's have a look. And ta-da, we have those pizzas here. These are the pizzas that were here in the setup. This is where they're coming from. So, and now this is, so I have to make sure that you believe me that they are not just in memory, but they have been stored to file or to disk. So I will manipulate this and then see what is happening. But let me first show you that the filter is working. So if I put M, it will find all pizzas with M. Margarita, of course, has M here, and Nacho has M here for Mexican style. And with this component, I can also specify I just want to look in the name, and I want to have includes M, and then it will just do this. Okay. Yeah, and I can, of course, customize these things in the UI a little bit. On this filter, I can say here, what should be filterable properties. Sometimes you don't want to offer some properties because users will get too much results. You want just to search in a few specific columns. That's also possible. Okay, let me just look at the code. I see there's some at the chat. There's something happening here. Yes, you will get the examples at the end of the session. They are on GitHub, and I will provide them. And let's see what other questions are here. Thank you. Thank you for liking that I'm a swing guy. I hope you are too. That's great. Okay, yeah. Nice that you like it. Oh, pizza data provider. Yes, of course. And it will be there. So pizza data provider is super complicated code. This is the pizza data provider. That's just it. There is a list data provider provided by Vaadin, and I just say, this is it. Nothing more. Just a little adapter to make it work. So this could also save you from having to care front-end, back-end integration. Yeah, great. Okay, cool. So that's great. And as you can see, this is very simple. And let's manipulate a little bit. And of course, we want to have more pizzas because I know I didn't hit everybody's taste buds with the nice Hawaiian pizza. And this is the second very powerful feature. You can just drag pizza on an empty view, not on a grid, because when I drag it on a grid, it will populate the grid, and I put it on an empty view. And now it will analyze the class and create an editing form for pizza. And it says, hey, you got some fields, and I saw, hey, this is an integer, calories. So I will give you a number field, which is the appropriate input component to input numbers. And then you have some strings. I will use text fields. If I have dates in there, it will give me a date chooser, and so on. And again, I can do some manipulation here. I say menu item should be first, of course. And then I can say calories is the second and description is the last one, okay? And then the rest I will leave there. And then it will generate the code and give me this nice form. And we will add a button. And this button should say save. Yeah, that's it. And then I will double click the button to go to the code. And now I get a click listener where I can put the code that should be executed when I click save. So, so that I don't have to write this all down. I think I've hidden that somewhere. Oh no, I lost my demo code. Okay, so you have to endure me writing the code. So let me think, what do I want to do? I want to create a new pizza item. And why didn't I save that? So let's say I want a new pizza. So this should be pizza, P, new pizza. And then I will need to get some stuff from the UI. I will say menu item, get value. And then we will repeat that for name, get value, and then this will be the calories. I think this is a crazy one. This gives me a double. I want to have the int value. And then title, okay. Did I call it title? Okay. Yeah, description. Let's use description for that. And then get value. Okay, so I have a new, so this is very simple. I have a new pizza element. And then the thing I want to do is want to save that one. And this is very easy. I can just go to my data store again. And this should have an instance and pizzas. This is my list, and I will add to this pizzas list just my new pizza. So that's gonna be it. I won't code anymore, so we have some time for questions left, and just try this out. So let's save all of this, and let's go to here, go to pictures, menu item P90, which is a very nice target reference. Yeah, Jack pizza, calories 9,000, of course, and very good. Okay, so and I will click save. It won't clear the UI because I didn't do that. And let's look at this here. And so it's in there. So this just works great. Okay, yeah, that's it. Okay, so that's it. Enough coding. We have to do some 2 or 3 slides, and then we go to Q&A. That's just how it works. So you've seen Rapid Clips. You've seen how you can use this just using Java. And I wanted to do more, but I find out the talk is too long. So there is also Pulumi and the AWS CDK, which allows you to use just Java to deploy to the cloud. And of course, you can deploy your Rapid Clips application to the cloud. And yeah, this is also, if you want to check out those 2 frameworks, maybe I do a talk about them in the future. This is also great, so you can stay in your Java flow all the way. Okay, we've reached the point of Q&A. So let me just scan my chat for Q&A. Thank you. It's nice to get some positive feedback in the chat. Okay, it says how straightforward it is to package and ship all of this in order to have it run on an actual web server publicly available. Does it need to get deep into web server app setup? No. This gives you just a .war file, and there's no magic. This is just a WAR file, and you can give this WAR file to a Tomcat or to any other servlet container, and it will run it. I will have a talk tomorrow at noon, 12 o'clock European Standard Time, where I show scale to 0. But in this talk, I will show a lot of cloud services that allow you to use WAR files, deploy them very easily in a way, as you can see here, no Kubernetes fumbling with YAMLs, just doing the work, no crazy stuff. And yeah, that's it. So it's really easy to do this, and it gives you a WAR file, and you can use that. And in the future, we're planning to have even better support. So you can use, for example, maybe Quarkus, which will give you an executable jar file or even a native image to run all of this. Genau. Yeah, sorry I joined late. Which tool provides the low-code UI builder? Tool is called Rapid Clips. I will check it out. It's just rapidclips.com. I will put it in the chat. Oh, I'm still in the private chat here. Okay, rapidclips.com. Okay. Are there any examples for Rapid Clips with an SQL database? Yes, of course, you can use Rapid Clips with an SQL database. My colleagues in the further talks, they will have that. And there's also, if you download Rapid Clips, you can just start Rapid Clips. There are starting wizards, and there is an H2 database bundled with it that has some demo data in it, so you can look at it, and it basically uses JPA to connect to a database and retrieve data. That's great. Yes, this is via JDBC when you use this, and not only JDBC, but on top of JDBC, there's also JPA. So you get object relational mapping, but you can also use MicroStream if you don't care about that. Okay, I will do survey. Okay, yeah, very great. Any any more questions at this point? Would you advise rapid clips for Spring Boot? Yeah, so yes, it's possible to do that. If you have like an existing Spring Boot backend, that's also okay. You can just use rapid clips as a plain UI builder, have the UI running, and talk to maybe a REST backend with Spring Boot or JPA. That works. But rapid clips itself does not have any Spring components. And I think I saw up here somewhere that people wanted to see the dependencies. And let me show this because this relates to this question. There's this POM file here. So rapid clips brings a little bit more stuff because we have to do a little bit more magic. And as you can see, I'm bringing here the rapid clips core, which is the open source base for the rapid clips components and the stuff that rapid clips does. And this is something you would have to keep. So even if you move away from rapid clips and you use components that we provide with rapid clips, you have to keep this dependency, but you can use NetBeans, IntelliJ, what you want to develop. And then I have MicroStream because I use this to store, and I have the logger again. And as you can see, this is again very clean. If you look at the POM hierarchy, you will see then there comes a lot of stuff because Vaadin needs some stuff to do things, and it looks not so good because it's so much, but it's the same thing all over again because they modularized it into components, and yeah, it's a lot of stuff. But you can have a look at it yourself, and most of the stuff that they have, they develop themselves, and it repeats, so it has the same things all over and over again. So looking at the chat. Okay. Great. Okay, I'm running out of time. I would like to say thank you and hope you have a great experience here at JCON. You come back, you tell all your colleagues that it's fun to be here. And I hope you learned something new today. And I would appreciate it if you took the time to give me feedback on this talk, what I can improve, what you wanted to hear at this point, or what was great. It's always good to hear that. Thank you for the positive feedback in the chat, and we see us again at JCON in the next days. Thank you all.